Now, for some reason, I'm often emailed a form in a Word document that I'm asked to fill in. And here's an example, very simple form. I have to fill in some fields. Now, when people create these forms, they clearly don't really understand how to use Word properly. And I'll give you an example of what's going to happen here. So I'm going to fill in my name, Graham Hall, and watch what's happening to the form. Now suddenly the age field's over here, so now I have to delete some of this and bring it back. So really what they've just done is they think it's looking aesthetically pleasing, but then they haven't given much thought about when someone fills in that information. So what we could do is perhaps we could create a table to put in this information. Now, you have to perhaps consider, if you're collecting lots of information from lots of people, do you want to do it in a Word form? Because then all of that data you then need to collate together. So that's another discussion and one for subsequent videos and courses. But for the purpose of this particular exercise, you've seen the problem that's faced, and we're going to show you a way to create and use tables to create a basic form that is easy for people to fill in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a table, and I'm not quite sure how many rows I want yet, because you saw how easy it was to adjust and change it. So I'm just going to start just like this, and I'm also going to remove all of the borders, and I'm going to come up here and just remove all of the borders. There we go. So first things first, I know I'm going to have to put in a name field, and then I suppose I'm also going to have to put an address field, but I actually want a bit of space between it. Let's just put address in here because I know I can always add another row. I know that there are going to be 3 fields here for people to put their information in. And then perhaps I'm going to also add a zip code because I want that separate here. Then in fact, particularly on this table, I'm going to have an office only section. So I'm going to put here, do not write below this line. For office use only. And I still haven't put in the age, so the name is here. Someone's going to put in the details there. Perhaps I need to have a space between the name and the age, so perhaps the age is going to go here. And so I decide I now don't want this column. So I'm going to right click and delete these cells. And when I delete them, I've got the option of shift the cells up. So am I just going to delete that particular cell? Or do I want to delete the entire row or column? And I want to delete the entire column. There we go. And so I'm going to drag this way. Age, of course, you're not going to be filling in too much. So I'm going to come up here. It's easier to drag up here. There we go. Oh, I dragged the ruler by accident. Let's just undo that. And I'm going to take, here we go. That's what I'm after. There we go. I'm going to drag this way. Name, of course, is going to be bigger. Here we go. Okay, a little bit happy with that. Now, straight away you can see that I've got a real big fat line here. So what I can do is I can come into layout. I'm going to select these entire rows, and I've got suddenly this option called merge cells. What that basically means is it's now made all of those 5 cells into one cell. There you go. So now what I can do is I can perhaps move that into the middle. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these cells here just by clicking on here. Not particularly happy with this space here, so I'm going to just move it. There we go. There we go. I've changed my mind. Here we go. And make this a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm pretty happy with that. And now if ever I give this form to anyone, you can see that it's a lot easier for them to fill in. And none of the fields are moving. We can do a little bit more though. Let's actually do some more rearranging. So I'm going to click on perhaps the layout, and I'm going to move this to the middle. There we go. I actually have decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a row. So I'm going to insert a row above. Put a little bit of space there. I'm going to fill this. So I'm going to come into the design. I'm going to give it a shading and I'm going to make it black. Automatically, it's created the text that was in there that was black, which I wouldn't have been able to see. It's made it white. So that's a great little function of Word. I'm going to now take these particular text boxes here and I'm going to put some bottom border to it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these cells here. I'm going to change, of course, the pen color to black because that's a little bit more. I'm going to right click and click on borders and shading. What I'm going to do is, it's still got the green color. I'm going to choose to shade the bottom, but also I need to shade that line here because I've chosen multiple cells here. And click OK. There we go. And I need to do the same thing to here. I'm going to apply it there. Just delete this here. Okay. So I'm relatively happy with that. So I'm just going to remove what I had originally. Of course, if I want to, I can resize the height of any of these. I can just drag it down. I can, of course, evenly distribute any of these. All of the skills that we saw in the previous videos. And then finally, select the table, click on View Grid Lines, and there we go. Oh, not quite. I'm not quite happy with this. I need to ensure that this one here also has a border. Let's just correct that. It's the distributed. Here we go. Let's just make that closer to the actual text. There we go. So there's my form that now if I email this to anyone to fill in, whenever they select here and type their name, nothing is changed in the formatting, and it truly is a form that is easy to fill in. There is a little bit more that you can do in terms of making forms and putting more controls on it, but this is just to show you how you can use a table just to create a very basic form. As usual, give it a go.